in the off lane,
Okay.
at least against that setup. And I wanted to see what you thought about. It's not the last Razor game; it's the one before.
Sure. First
It's
thing is that Razor isn't really an offlane hero.
I know, but that's why I wanted to ask you, like, what's your opinion on why I picked Razor? I'm gonna tell you why after
Sure.
you open up the replay.
Sure.
Why I thought it was a good hero. Oh, you opened it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Ursa, it was good against Ursa because I could lower his damage input, and I thought that with Razor's movement speed, they couldn't catch up on me that easy. That's what I thought.
Um,
But that's not the game.
is this not?
No, it's not that one. This is the most recent one.
Oh, I thought you wanted to go over that one. Okay. I thought you were. So was it
That
which?
one. Yeah.
Okay,
That one.
my bad. I thought you were talking about something else when you were saying the, not the most recent one. So Razor is really good in aggro tri-lanes, but he's not good as an offlaner on his own. The reason for that is he doesn't have, like, he can't get a stout shield, so he can't get tanky early easily. He can't get a quelling blade either. He doesn't really have any escape aside from his passive, which isn't really an escape. So what can happen is they can just, like, if they snowball onto you and then shackle you with an Ursa, you're dead, and there's nothing you can do about that as a Razor, right?
That's why I thought about what you said before, like buy the boots first so they can't really
Yeah.
catch up on you.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, what am I gonna buy Healing Salve and Tangles for? I'm just gonna die anyways if I get one shackle. So I think I went boots first this game, or windlays.
Yeah, you're probably going for boots first. Yeah. It's yeah, like I mean, it's kind of the right item, but it's like the wrong hero. Like if you picked a like Pangolier or some shit instead, you could like see them snowballing in and then like just jump away. But like you're never gonna be faster than a Tusk snowball in the early game. And he can shards while snowballing. So at
Yeah.
level 2, like this is a very potent combo for locking you down, and then they have a like the strongest early game damage carry in the game. So you were, what pick were you? You were 9th pick. So the Tusk was the last pick. I mean, it's just kind of like, how do I put it? Like, you didn't know that they were going to pick Tusk, but it's like, the game is really hard for you as a Razor because they have Shadow Shaman and Ursa. And then whatever hero on top of that, like, can just make it worse. So it's
So
kind of...
what could I have done in that game to like kind of like be able to not counter the Ursa, but like be effective in the offlane, not let him farm as much, or
I think a Beastmaster would be really good.
why?
Beastmaster's Boar gives you vision of the support and slows the support. Your Hawk gives you vision of the Tinker when you want to find him later. And then your Roar is... Lockdown is incredibly good against Ursa. And Roar is exactly that.
Okay.
And Ursa is like, if you can kill him quick, he doesn't scale. So if you can deal with him early, And like Ursa's kind of tanky, but no hero in early game except for like Timbersaw and Tidehunter are tanky enough to eat a roar and other spells and survive in the early game. So Beastmaster gives you the early ability to fight the Ursa, and then the Ursa falls off really hard in the late game. And Bloodseeker also falls off really hard in the late game. And then because you have Hawk and you have Roar, if you get a Blink Dagger, you have solutions to Tinker also. Do you see how Beastmaster would be like a lot better in this situation than a Razor?
Yeah. Okay. We still won the game, but I went like 0 and 9 in the beginning.
Yeah, it's just Razor's not a good offlaner. You have 2 movement or 2 armor. You have below average movement speed, and it's just you picked a hero with no mobility against a Shadow Shaman Ursa when they still had another support pick. So I think like a Blink hero would have been pretty good. Like maybe even get like a Puck or some shit as the offlaner.
Yeah, or a Queen of Pain.
Yeah, something like that. Because it's like, yeah, those heroes are squishy as shit, but every hero against this lineup is squishy as shit. Because they can just do this shit. If that Shadow Shaman was in there, you would have been instantly dead, but he was outside of it, so it took you a little bit longer to die. And, like, they're just diving tier 2, and, like, they can just do that because you're a Razor. But if you were a Puck, like, you could just orb into the trees and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
I kind of don't even want to watch this because I feel like that's just going to be the main theme of the game. You're going to be you're going to be very underfarmed and useless because of the early game.
Okay. Yeah, we can watch something else.
Wait, which other one did you want to go over then?
There was a Lifestealer game I played that I lost. I don't know how I could have won that game better. I don't know if my item build was right.
I haven't really seen a lot of Singing Yasha above like 6k on like any hero. At least not recently.
Why not?
I think it's just kind of like... It's kind of like a bigger version of drums where when you get it, it's like awesome for the minute that you have it, and then like 5 minutes later it's like meh.
Okay. And it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, like drums, how I see drums a lot of the time is you buy it to, there's 2 situations that I think to buy it, and that's when you can use your drums to end the game early, or you can use your drums to make it so the enemy can't end the game early. So like if you have like a 5-core lineup, and if the game goes past 35 minutes, it doesn't matter what items you have, you're going to win the game just because your core scale better than theirs. Then you can buy drums in the early game then, and you'll outscale them if you can just like survive the early game. And then Singing Yasha is like a more extreme version of that, where it's like 4,000 gold. Where it's like, yeah, it'll make you really strong, but it's like, this is the same cost as a BKB, and all it does is make you like 16% faster and have a chance to slow. And that has like some decent stats, but like BKB also has some decent stats too, and it makes you next to unkillable on most cores.
You think I should have bought BKB?
I'm not saying that you should have bought BKB. I'm just saying, like, BKB is the same gold ballpark as this item.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe, I like the armlet because they have a lot of physical damage, between these 2 guys, and this gives you, like, 9 armor. So the armlet isn't bad. Maybe, like, an Echo Saber would have been good next, and then go like AC or some shit after that, because the Echo Saber helps you a lot, because if you feast, open wounds, and then armlet Echo Saber, you do a fuck ton of damage like instantly, and it solves your mana problems. And you were last pick, so you knew the whole team composition. Trying to think if there's a better hero.
I've been using Dota buff. I don't know why I picked Lifestealer. There was a reason.
It's probably because this is a lot of disable that you don't really want to deal with.
I've been using Dota buff every game, but sometimes I don't know who to pick. For example, this game, I didn't know what to pick.
I think maybe Slark would have been really good. But also could have been really bad. I don't know. The main thing that I'm looking at is, like, this guy can deal with your, with this being able to go through BKB, it's pretty good against you now. And Juggernaut can just spin off your open wounds. I think Slark is good against, like, it's hard to say, because, like, Slark stops all of their shit, but if they get their shit off, you're dead. So I think a lot of it is the skill matchup to make Slark good or not. But yeah, here I would put in probably Juggernaut and PA into the matchup and see what a good hero would come out with. I think maybe Luna would be the pick here, because Luna has enough movement, speed, and range that you're not completely shit on by this, and she has bonus damage, which doesn't get reduced by this guy's damage reduction. And on top of that, she's ranged, so she can synergize with Chronosphere. Whereas, if he gets a 5-man Chrono, you're just gonna, like, sit there and watch him.
Yeah.
Which I think is, like, they have good synergy with the Invoker and the Void, but, like, you kind of, like, can't do anything with them. I guess you could, like, open a wound into a Sunstrike or some shit. You're also not using your quick buy.
I have been using it, but I don't know why I didn't use it there.
Gotcha. It's easy to forget, especially when you first start doing it.
No, I've always used quick buy. It's just that I don't set up the item until I have the money, I guess. Like, for example, I got 500 gold for the boots, so I set up the quick buy right away. For the boots.
You know, if you control shift click, you can put up to 8 components in there, right?
Yeah, I know.
So there's nothing that's stopping you from, like, putting Phase, Wand, Quelling Blade, and all of that shit in there in the 50 seconds before the rune spawns.
I wanted to ask you, like, when I'm trying to control lane balance, I have to start denying my own creeps before, as soon as they're 50% HP, right?
You don't have to. Most of that is, that's what I rewinded to look at, and then I kind of, like, got distracted. 1 sec. This is good. Starting with this makes it very easy for the rest of your lane.
You mean my items?
Where you got that deny, where you auto attack down your 1 melee creep at 50%. The first melee creep of yours that died here, you auto attacked them down, which is gonna make it possible for the rest of your lane to be really easy, equilibrium wise. Like, right now you're in a pretty good, you shouldn't be, I think this is where you mess it up. You've done all of this work to, I'm scared of using...
Because there's 2 ranged creep.
Yeah.
They have 2. I didn't want it to push into my tower.
Having 2 range creeps is bad when it's your 2 range creeps. It's not bad when it's their 2 range creeps. you want the goal of creep equilibrium is not to have it equal, it's to have it slightly pushing into you. Because if it's slightly pushing into you, that's a lot easier to fix. It puts you in a situation where if you let this range creep die, and then something happens, so you slightly fuck up the equilibrium, the lane's kind of like over and it's going to push into his tower. But if you keep this range creep alive, then you can just like auto attack down the melee creep some if you need to. So it makes it so it's like for the lane to get out of hand with them having 2 range creeps, you have to fuck up really hard.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you've done all this stuff that makes it so the lane is now pushing into you, but then by attacking this, you kind of reset all of that.
That I didn't know.
Yeah,
I always thought that you wanted to, like, if they have 2 range creeps, you want to kill one right off, so it doesn't push you into the tower.
Well, it's kind of like, if they do have 2 range creeps here, what's stopping you from, like, just attacking their melee creeps? It allows you to be able to decide what the equilibrium's going to be. Like, you can just auto-attack down the melee creeps to counteract the second ranged creep. Or if you... like, and that would allow you to heal off a feast and shit. Or if the Tide Hunter comes up here and you want to go on them, and then these creeps all aggro you, if they have 2 range creeps, it's not going to be that big of a deal because it's already pushing into you. So yeah, these creeps are going to be attacking you instead of your creeps. But when they go back to attacking your creeps, it's going to be 2 range creeps. So it'll make up for itself quickly. And if you hadn't done that, their creep wave is going to... your creep wave is going to push into them in a little bit here. Which is partly you auto-attack that down early. But now, you're starting to get into a situation where you're going to have to like miss creeps here. To try to keep the lane from pushing out. And now, the creep wave is pushing into them. And you can fix it a little bit, but in a few minutes here, it's going to be at their tower. Whereas, see how it's pushing? And now, you have nothing you can do about it. But if you kept that 1 range creep alive, it would be pushing into you the whole time, but you can always just auto-attack down their creeps to counteract that range creep. But with him dead, you don't have any options anymore. And now this Tide Hunter that's level 1 with 0 experience is going to be able to come to lane and get free experience. So this guy was completely zoned out until 30 seconds ago. And the only reason he's getting anything here is because you killed off that 1 range creep. He also built like a retard, but
what should he have built?
Him?
Yeah.
Like anything else. This is the worst regen item in the game. For the gold, like you can get wand. This is 650 gold for 2 health regen. This is 400 gold. For like
1.5.
yeah, for the same amount of gold, this gives you more regen. Plus, you get the actives of it. And this also pushes out the creep wave of his. So if he's standing in lane for long enough, the health regen is going to be on his creeps, which will push it towards you. And it's kind of like, you don't really want to be spending 600. He would have been better off with boots and a mango than with this item.
Also, I've seen pros or like really high ranked players, they pull creep aggro into their ranged creep even with the hero in the fog. Like for example, I can't do that if Tide Hunter is there, right?
No, you can.
I've seen that what they do is they click on another hero on another lane and right click them. But I don't. How do I do that so fast? By the time I switch back to my screen, Like the creeps are already on me.
Well, yeah, they're supposed to go on you. What you would
But
do if you wanted to do that right here, you
yeah.
would click this guy, right
Uh-huh.
click, click your own profile, and then move like here. And then the creeps would be on you and they'd follow you for a few seconds and then they'd drop aggro and they'd go to the closest creep. And by coming over here, your range creep would be the closest creep. Does
Okay.
that, does that make sense?
Yeah, I tried it before, but they stopped chasing me by the time I switched back to my screen.
I mean, there's different ways you can do that. It's like you can right click this guy and then double click your portrait and then do this and that
So
you
what I do is I double tap one.
yeah, that works too. You have like 2.5 seconds to do it.
Okay. I guess it's just more practice.
Yeah, I guess it's literally a mechanic thing, so practice will only help. But yeah, this lane is a stomp. It would have been like a complete stomp if you did that range thing correctly, though.
Just one mistake and the thing is fucked up.
Yeah, like this guy's, he's level 2 at 6 minutes, but you still fucked up. Like he could be like level 1 still. And if this guy was level 1, you get this kill with so much less commitment. I don't know if you, yeah, you get the kill, but like you would have been at like full health right now if he was level 1. And then here, it depends on what your goal is. If you plan on farming, it would have been better to go Echo Saber first. But if you're getting contested, Armlet can be nicer because this is a pretty good sustain item. But so is Echo Saber with Feast and Open Wound. So it's kind of like if you're getting heavily contested, you want this, but if you're getting lightly contested, Echo Saber's really good because you can always like infest to heal up, which will give you some regen, but it won't give you enough if it's heavy harass, and you can always open wounds. And Echo Saber will make you farm faster than Armlet will. And you can save your Echo Saber procs to hit this Tidehunter whenever he shows up. Kind of like a Weaver's
Yeah.
Geminate attack. Also, with your Feast is your ability that keeps you from ever being able to die. So you have to keep that in mind. Also, you use that way too late. You could have used that at the start of the fight and just like walked away with your phase boots. There's not really much else I can say about that.
Oh, I know. I know I made that mistake. I was kind of like trying to prep up the. I thought I could handle both of them. That's it. By now I'm auto attacking the creeps because I want to push into
It's fine.
their tower because
Yep.
my team is getting like a lot of pressure on the other lanes, so I wanted to take advantage and push the lane a bit
Yeah.
and get the tower.
And you're at the point where you can jungle. So if you push this out and they show up 3 people here, you can just go to the jungle and you'll be fine. I think Echo Saber's better here. Like Echo Saber gives you about the same damage and the slow chance. Or like the slow from the Echo Saber is basically the same as Singing Yasha. It's just more consistent and better, but not as often. And then the damage and the strength is about the same. What you're missing out on is the movement speed, but it's about half the cost, a little bit more than half the cost, but it solves your mana problems too, and it scales better than Singing Yasha, because 2 attacks at max attack speed is always going to be really good, but an extra like 30 attack speed, or whatever this ends up being. Yeah, 30 attack speed is not that great, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the main reason. Echo Saber solves your mana problems, scales better, the slow is better too, and then the health is
Hello?
about the same. Can you hear me?
You there?
Me? Hola?
I can't really hear you. Like it's cutting off.
Is it good now?
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay. So what I was saying is Echo Saber's about the same health, the slow's about the same, it scales better because the double attack scales directly with your attack damage, and it solves your mana problems, which is very important for this hero. If you don't have mana, you can't do shit. And there's no other like item that you really want to buy that solves the mana problems.
So let me recap a bit.
Sure.
Echo Saber instead of Sanju Yasha don't attack the range creep even if there's 2 or 3. And also you said that if I'm not getting any pressure in my lane, I could go for Echo Saber instead of Gauntlet.
What?
You were saying that if I don't get that much pressure or that much action in my lane, I could get Echo Saber before I get Gauntlet. I mean
the
Armlet.
armlet. Yeah, for this game at least. And that's because Armlet and Echo Saber are the items that you want this game. Maybe some games you want an early Blink Dagger or some shit like that. But this game you kind of want Armlet and Echo Saber because of the armor, and them being a lot of physical damage. But if they're a lot of magic damage, you might want to go like Desolator or some shit instead because they're squishier and the armor isn't going to do anything and you're fine. You're like tanky enough with your Q that you don't need extra armor or some shit like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I could have lived there. I could have killed the PA.
Yeah. But again, it was mechanical things. And also, if you were doing all the lane shit correctly, the Tidehunter would be a non-factor at this point. Like, he'd probably still be his Ravage, but he'd be like a level 6 Ravage, and that's all he'd be.
So is Lifestealer a bad pick against these heroes? Because I was thinking a lot into how do I beat a PA and a Juggernaut.
I think it's really good against the other heroes, but it's like not really good with your heroes. Because you can't do anything with Chronosphere, and you don't really have a hero that you can infest bomb with. But your Q is really good against Ravage, it's really good against Dark Willow, and it's really good against Earthshaker. And by having a hero that's immune to magic, you can focus more on getting armor, which is really good against the Juggernaut and the PA. So I don't think Lifestealer is bad against their team. I think it's more of you weren't considering your team enough when you went for the Lifestealer pick.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, like, you take another fight and then you're out of mana. And, yeah. Whereas if you had an Echo Saber, you'd be able to stay on the map. And then you might die here because you don't have the mana to cast whatever spells that you need to. Or some shit like that. But yeah, you got your Singing Yasha, but it's like, does it really feel like it's doing that much for you?
Not really. I just felt a little bit faster, but I still couldn't catch up on the heroes.
Yeah.
As much.
Part of that is...
Unless they used Q. Or unless they used their cooldowns and I was free to right-click them.
Yeah, and part of what that is playing Lifestealer correctly is infest bombing and trying to go out when they're either locked down or their spells are on cooldown. So you're getting Sing and Yasha to kind of make up for the movement speed, to make up for not playing him the right style, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, maybe if your Tusk was like a Spirit Breaker or some shit, it might be better. Or if your Faceless Void was like, I guess if you had like a Storm Spirit or something, it'd be a lot better. The Lifestealer pickup. But the Faceless Void, you don't synergize with that at all, and you don't have a hero that helps you like pick off people, except for like the Invoker. Maybe if you guys had like an LC instead of the Faceless Void, I think the Lifestealer would have been amazing, but I'm kind of stuck on the Faceless Void not doing well with you.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But yeah, I think
it did make it hard for me to fight when Void was in his ult.
Yeah.
Or used his ult.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be like most of what we're gonna get from this replay.
Yeah.
We could either call this here or we could try and do another replay.
Your call.
I think calling here would be pretty decent. I think we talked about some good stuff, and these are the replays that you first went to, and we quickly went over them. So I feel like anything else would like start to teeter off a little bit.
Okay.
And we did the other lesson like a day or two ago, so it's you still have that like